Hi, good morning everyone. In today's session, we are going to understand about how to set up Django servers on Amazon Web Services. Django is a Python framework using which you can develop web applications and deploy on a server. Now, as you all know, Amazon Web Services is one of the best service providers for handling and management of web applications on web servers. So we will be using Amazon Web Services. Before starting our today's demonstration, I would like to quickly give you a quick brief of requirements actually required in the industry for Django developers. Now, when it comes to Django, Django is an important framework, and as you all know, Django falls under Python programming. So now there are a lot of industries, those who recruit software developers, software engineers, full stack developers, where Django is required. Now, if I give you a quick information, let's say there's a company, LG Software India, which everybody knows, it creates fridge and a lot of electronic devices. So let me just quickly take you there. So LG Soft India is hiring for a software engineer at Bangalore location. But here what they are looking for a person with programming knowledge in Python. He should be aware with shell scripting along with JavaScript, jQuery and HTML for front-end designing, inclusive of cascading style sheets, along with relational database management systems like MySQL, as well as there are various other examples like MS SQL, PostgreSQL, and many more. Now, this person should also have knowledge in Django framework. He should be well versed with Linux programming. He should have knowledge about agility, how customer satisfactory products are developed. Along with, he should have experience in version source code tools like Git, GitHub, and Gerrit. So these are some of the mandatory skills which is required for a software engineer. So he should be knowing at least these three things: Python, Django, and shell scripting. Now, here, what we are going to do, am I audible now? Am I audible now? Hello? Arush, am I audible now? Hello? 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 Arush, am I audible now? Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello. Yes, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's continue from here. So let's say there is a company known as LG Software India, which actually recruits for software engineers at Bangalore location. Okay. So what are their requirements? They want a candidate who should have knowledge of programming in Python along with shell scripting. He should also have knowledge about front-end web application designing technologies known as JavaScript, jQuery, HTML, and CSS. Along with, he should have knowledge of database management systems, which is a relational database management system referred here. And there are various examples like MySQL, MS SQL, PostgreSQL, and many more. The person should also have knowledge in Django framework and Linux so that he can manage the web servers and web applications. Along with, he should have experience with GitHub so that he can manage various version control of the softwares. And he should have knowledge about Agile so that he can develop customer satisfactory products. Along with, there are certain mandatory skills which are required, which means he should have fundamental programming knowledge of Python. He should know Django framework so that he can design web applications and deploy. Followed by he should also know shell scripting. Now, in this demonstration, we are going to understand how we can fulfill all these requirements and how we can make use of Django to set up a Django framework with Apache server on a Linux operating system on Amazon Web Services. Then we will be proceeding in further sessions for designing of these web applications using JavaScript, jQuery, HTML, CSS. We are going to store the data in the RDBMS, and followed by we will be maintaining a lot of cron jobs using shell scripting technology, and we are going to understand that how people can learn all these technologies in order to become a software engineer at a company like LG. So let's get started. The first thing which we will be doing is we need to set up a server, and using this server we will be deploying our applications, and worldwide people will be able to access our applications. In order to do this, first thing which we need to do, we need to browse to a website console.aws.amazon.com. Okay, I'm sharing the link in chat with all the participants. console.aws.amazon.com. We have to quickly browse to this website. Now, what this console AWS Amazon offers you? Amazon Web Services, to give you a quick brief, let me just quickly give you the definition of Amazon Web Services, what it is. Everybody is aware about Amazon.com, what Amazon.com is. But now I would like to tell you about what Amazon Web Services are. Okay. So Amazon Web Services is the section of Amazon company which follows a lot of services and products. What kind of products they are offering? They offer maintenance of servers and applications. So you all know that once we create a website, the website has to be hosted on a server. So similarly, where this server is available, there are a lot of service providers known as GoDaddy. Similarly, Amazon Web Services is also one of the topmost service providers, which offers you a lot of services for maintaining your web applications. Okay, so here we will be using these. There are a lot of services offered by Amazon. As you can see, these are the names of the services which are available with Amazon. So we will be using a couple of services like the compute service. Compute service will be the first service which is quite helpful for us. Using compute, what we can do, we can create virtual servers in the cloud and we can deploy our applications there. And what can happen is worldwide people will be able to access our web applications. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So at the end of this demonstration, you guys will be ready with one very basic sample web application which will be deployed on AWS, and people will be able to access it over internet from worldwide. Then in the next session onwards, we will be working on designing these applications so that we can create high quality designs and we can deploy that on server, and people will be able to make use of the web applications and websites and get their queries sorted as well as get their solutions. So now let's have a look. So how we are going to proceed? Initially, you have to quickly reach out to the website console.aws.amazon.com. Here, you need to create an AWS account initially. To create an AWS account, you need a credit card and you need rupees. It will charge you 2 rupees. That is for one-time payment verification. Then it is free of cost. You can completely use it for a couple of months, up to 12,000 rupees. It's free of cost. Then you may get a monthly charge of maybe 100, 200 rupees in case if you continue. So with Amazon Web Services. But for this project deployment, we'll get approximately 2 to 3 months so that we can complete our all the demonstrations and we can deploy our applications on AWS. Now, having an AWS account today is a necessity. Everybody should have, every software developer who's a web application developer or he's designing any mobile applications where he need to connect the services, it's always advised to have an account on AWS. Now, I already have an account here on AWS, so I would directly go into the account. And Arush, I'm going to create a virtual machine. You're going to understand how that is created. Then I'm going to give you access to that virtual machine. Is that
सर
clear?
सर एक चीज़ बोलनी थी मुझे. I actually have a virtual machine installed in my system.
So that won't be useful because using that virtual machines, people won't be able to access your website. Okay, so you need an AWS account and you need a virtual server on AWS.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, so let's quickly go next. I'm logging with console.aws.amazon.com. Now, when we reach here, as soon as you log into this account, initially you guys are going to get EC2 services. Okay, these services are known as compute services, and EC2 actually stands for elastic compute. So I'll quickly define that here, elastic compute. So what is elastic compute? Elastic compute is the virtual machine which can help you create virtual servers on the cloud, and you can deploy your web applications on a virtual server, and that application will be accessible worldwide. So people with your IP address or your website domain name, they will be able to access your applications. Okay. So now let's see what we are going to do. We'll go here and we are going to click on EC2. So as soon as I click over EC2, I reach out to EC2 dashboard. Now, within Elastic Compute, you can create as many servers as you want. So let's say in case if you want to make a business and you want that business to be available worldwide. So what you can do is you can make virtual servers on different locations in different countries, and you can serve those people with whatever services you are offering. Now what next we need to do? So first of all, you need to create the instances. Okay. So on the very left hand side, there is an option known as instances. Instances means a virtual instance which we are going to create, and it is actually known as a virtual server where we are going to deploy our application. So you can quickly consider as virtual instance as a virtual server, and this virtual server will be holding your application, and you will be able to deploy your applications on a virtual server on that EC2 instance, and people will be able to access your applications, your websites all over the world. Now, so what we are going to do, let's quickly go to instances. I've clicked on instance here. Now, once you reach on instance, you have to click on this option, launch instance. What launch instance will do, it will help you create a new instance. So Arush, for you, I'm going to create a new instance so that you understand how the instance is created. And then I'm going to share the credentials with you so that you will also be able to access the instance and configure accordingly. The step-by-step, whatever I will be doing, you will be doing it on your machine. Okay? Which the
Yes.
machine access I will provide you. Okay, now let's see. So first we are going to click on launch instance. Now once we click on launch instance, we are going to set up a Kali Linux server. We generally use Kali Linux server because it is known as one of the best hacking machines. So we will be using Kali Linux. It is a penetration testing operating system.
Sir,
So
sir,
yes.
सर आई डोंट नो इफ इट इज़ यूजफुल बट मैंने वर्चुअल मशीन के अंदर काली लिनक्स ऑलरेडी डाउनलोड किया हुआ है अपने सिस्टम में, तो इज इट मतलब मैं उससे यूज़ कर सकता हूँ या मुझे AWS पे ही यूज़ करना चाहिए?
आपको AWS पे ही यूज़ करना चाहिए। आप अगर अपने लोकल वर्चुअल मशीन में अगर एप्लीकेशन डिप्लॉय करोगे तो सिर्फ आप ही उसको देख सकते हो और कोई दूसरा नहीं देख पाएगा उसको, मतलब वर्ल्ड वाइड नहीं हो पाएगा। बट अगर हम कोई भी वेबसाइट बनाते हैं तो वेबसाइट हम बनाते हैं दूसरों के लिए, यूजर्स के लिए, जो हमारी सर्विसेज को एक्सेस कर सकें। तो वो सर्विसेज डिप्लॉय करने के लिए हमें AWS पे अकाउंट होना चाहिए। सेम प्रोसीजर जो भी हम यहाँ पे एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे वो अपने लोकल मशीन पे कर सकते हो, दैट इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल। बट आपको AWS पे अकाउंट बनाना चाहिए, तभी आपकी एप्लीकेशन वर्ल्ड वाइड एक्सेसिबल हो पाएगी।
ओके सर।
Now let's see. So we'll quickly go to AWS Marketplace and we'll set up Kali Linux here. So I'm going to go select. So here we are going to take one instance. This instance is going to be a small free tier instance which I'll be taking here. So it will have one CPU, one memory, 1 GB RAM, one core CPU, and the elastic block storage EBS. So this is the basic computer configuration which we are creating. Amazon actually offers you a lot of features. Suppose in case if you don't have a physical infrastructure available with you, but you want, let's say, if you want a very high configuration, like you want approximately uh, 768 GB of RAM, okay, suppose, and 96 CPUs, and you want SSD of 8 SSDs of 7,500 GB each. So that is like a lot of space. So 7500 is somewhat like 7 TB. Uh, yeah, 107 TB drive. So 8 drives of 7 TB. So that is like a very high configuration system, and you can create these kinds of instances very quickly using AWS. Because in case if you go out and if you want to buy a system with that GB, it will be very costly. So in case if you need such configuration, you can make use of AWS, and AWS can charge you very minimum for these kinds of services which are available, these kinds of computer configurations. But for now, we want a very basic configuration, a general purpose configuration we'll be taking. So I'll be deploying that on T2 Micro free tier. So let's go for it. I'm going to create this instance. I'll go click on review and launch. So once I go click on review and launch, I would like to edit my security groups. I would like to allow the security configuration here. So for security configuration, we need to allow port number 80 on which our web server is going to run. So we are going to write a custom TCP rule. This is the TCP rule. We are opening port number 80 on, and we are allowing it to everybody. So 0.0.0.0/0 means port number 80 will be open, and anybody in the world with any IP address will be able to send a request to port number 80 on our server, and he will be able to access the web application. So by default, port number 80 is the default web server port where web applications are accessed. So suppose if I give you an example, suppose if you open facebook.com on your machine. So by default, what happens, a request actually goes to facebook.com port number 80. So port number 80 is default, so you don't need to specify that port. So in the browser, the default port is 80. So whenever you try to send a request to Facebook, the Facebook request directly goes to port number 80. But since port number 80 is default, we don't need to specify that in the domain. Okay. Whenever we type this address in the browser, we don't need to specify port number 80 because it already knows if there is no port specified, it will automatically select port number 80 and send a request to that. Okay. And I'm going to show you how that works. Now, so I have opened one port number 80, and over this we will be performing our configuration. For some custom testing, I also want to enable one more port, and this port will be, let's say, I will be taking a port number, let's say 4444, for some of the testing so as to show you differences between port number 80 and other ports. So I have opened a port 4444. Now, if I tell you in networking, this concept falls under networking. So in networking, what generally happens is there is a TCP IP layer. Okay, this layer is actually responsible for communication between two machines. Communication between two machines. Two machines could be known as a client and a server. Okay, so you can also call it as a client and a server. Now, what exactly happens is TCP IP has a lot of layers, and to quickly give you the name of the layers, at the top we have the application layer, followed by we have the transport layer, then we have the network layer, then we have the data link layer, and followed by we have the physical layer. Okay, what do we have on every individual layer? We have some important things on each and every layer. What kind of information we have in the layers? Let me just quickly show you. Okay, so application, you can quickly consider application as a browser. On transport layer, we have the port numbers 1 to 65,535. We can select any port between 1 to 65,535, but it should not be already occupied with any other program. Okay, Then on network layer, we have IP address, followed by on data link layer, we have MAC address. And then we have our Wi-Fi device or Wi-Fi modem. That's a Wi-Fi modem of our device. So it could be Wi-Fi modem or the GSM modem of your mobile phone. It could be the Wi-Fi device connect available at your home. Any physical device which will transmit the signals, and the signals will reach out to the server and client. So this is how the connections can be made. Now, one thing is pretty important here, which you all need to know, and that is the port numbers which I have defined. So as I told you, you can select any port number between 1 to 65,535. So I have selected port number 4444 here for some custom operations, which I'll be showing for demonstration purpose. But for Django project and for our application to be running on Django using Apache server, we should have port number 80 open. Okay, so port number 80 is important for everybody. We all need port number 80 in order to deploy our applications. Moreover, it's not necessary that you always need to run your application on port number 80 only. You can run it on any port between 1 to 65,535. But by default, the world knows that web servers has the default port number 80. So nobody has to define the port number. They just need to know the domain name, and they can connect to the service, to the website, or else the service, whatever is available. Arush, is that clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's see. So I have defined a couple of information here, which means the port information I have specified. Now what next we are going to do? Let's quickly go here, review and launch. Okay. So I'm going to review and launch. I'm going to launch my application. Now it is asking for a key pair. This is very important. This is like a secret key which is required to access your server. Okay, so this will be downloaded only once. In case if you forget this, then you won't be able to access your server. So it's always a good idea to download a key pair and keep it at a secret or a confidential place which only you know. And whenever you need to access your server, you need this key to access. So how to download a key? I'm going to create a new key pair. And let's say for this demonstration, I'm going to take the name as Arush Batra. Arush Batra is going to be the name of my key. Okay. So once I click on download key pair, I'm going to get a file downloaded. So here you guys can see a file has been downloaded known as arushbatra.pem file. This file is required to connect to Amazon Web Server. Okay. This is known as a secret key which is required to connect to your server. And this secret key is similar like a Facebook account password. So if you share this key with anyone, he will be able to access your server. Okay. So you should always take care about the key which you have for your AWS servers or for any other server. You should always keep it at a secure place. Now what next? We're going to launch the instance now. So the steps are very simple. You have clicked on launch instance, then you have selected the machine configuration. After that, you have selected the security group where you have defined the port number, and finally you have launched the application. Now you can see very quickly a server is running on internet, and we can go here and view the instances. Now if I see here, there are multiple instances available over here. So I would like to name this instance as Arush Batra instance. Okay, Arush, this will be your instance and you will be working on this. Okay, so I'll share the credentials with you. So now you can see quickly this server is running. That means now you have got an IP address. Okay, 13.126.27.226. This is the IP address of your web server. But as of now, once you have created the server, there is no website running on this IP address. Just for the sake of demonstration, I would like to show you. We'll go to this IP address and you can see nothing opens at the moment. This is because we have not set up our Amazon Web Services as of now. So what we will be doing, we are going to configure our websites on this server. Now, in order to quickly proceed with the demonstration, how we have to configure the server and how we have to make our applications live, then how we are going to set up Django in order to make secure Python applications applications for web, so that we will understand step by step. But before that, I would like to share my password key to Arush. So Arush, we are doing these following concepts today: Python web application development, the Django framework, and setting up Django. We'll be doing this. This is our main objective. But along with this, we have already set up the AWS also. Now, in your card, I'm sharing a key file which is required for you. Now, so here under the downloads, I have got arushbatra.pem file. So what you guys have to do, you need to use this PM file. So Arush, kindly download this file on your local machine. And once done, please let me know.
Okay, sir. Just a second, sir. Just a second.
Okay, now let's see. So once you have downloaded the file, we have to configure this. Okay. Now, in order to configure this file so that we can make a connection to AWS, there are certain software tools which are required. Okay. So now let's see. So once you have downloaded the file, we have to configure this. Okay. Now, in order to configure this file, so that okay, now let's see. So there are two ways you can use this. Two ways as in the operating systems. This is supported on all the operating systems. Operating system based configuration for your security keys. Now what we need to do first, let's say if you're on Windows, okay, if the majority participants are on Windows, then you need two softwares. One you need is PuttyGen, puttygen.exe. What puttygen.exe will do, it will create a ppk file from PEM file. So I have provided you a PEM file, but in Windows, you need to convert that into a putty private key. PPK stands for putty private key, so that you will be able to connect to your AWS server using putty.exe. Okay. So putty.exe will help you use the PPK file and connect to AWS server. Okay. These are the two softwares required. So let me quickly share the softwares which are required. We'll quickly go here. PuttyGen download. So here on the website puttygen.com are all the tools available required for connecting to Putty and PuttyGen. Okay, so I think it's giving me for Mac. Okay, here are the files. So first we have Putty here. We also need PuttyGen. So maybe, yeah, here is the link. So puttygen.exe, first link I'm sharing with you on your Trello card. So you can quickly download that. Okay. Then the next software which you would be needing is the Putty software, putty.exe. So accordingly, if your operating system is 32-bit, you can download the 32-bit version. In case if it is 64-bit, you have to download the 64-bit version. So kindly download both of these files. Okay, puttygen.exe as well as putty.exe. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly go to my Windows operating system. I'm going to start my Windows as well here so that I demonstrate for Windows also, and then I will demonstrate for Mac. So connecting
Sir,
AWS, Mac and AWS, Mac and Linux is pretty easy. Yes, Arush.
sir, hello.
Yes, please tell me.
Sir, I was disconnected due to some network issue. Can you repeat what you said?
From where have you disconnected?
सर जब आपने पुटी डॉट ई एक्स मेरे को भेजी थी मुझे उससे क्या करना है नॉट श्योर ऑफ इट
putty.gen.exe and putty.exe ये दोनों सॉफ्टवेयर डाउनलोड कीजिए.
ओके सर
सबसे पहले हम putty.gen.exe डाउनलोड करते हैं. So I'm setting this up on Windows also. So I've downloaded putty.gen.exe first. Okay, here you are going to get putty.gen.exe downloaded. At the bottom you can see I have got putty.gen downloaded. Here is putty.gen.exe, which I'll be using. Second, what I need is I need putty.exe also. So let's download putty.exe as well. So you need these two softwares, putty.gen.exe and putty.exe. So putty.gen.exe will convert your PEM file into a PPK file so that you can make a connection to the server. Putty.exe will help you use the PPK file to connect to AWS. So these are the two softwares required. Have you downloaded both of them?
यस सर
Okay. Okay, now what we are going to do. First, let's start putty.gen.exe. So once we run putty.gen.exe, what we need to do, we need to load the PEM file which you have downloaded. So go here, open putty key generator, putty.gen.exe, click on load, go to downloads, and in the downloads, you may be having your file. You have to open all the files. So select all files from here, and then you will get arushbatra.pem. So we need to convert this PEM file into a PPK file. Let's quickly connect that. Let's quickly open that. So once we open, we have got a message successfully imported the key. So we are going to click on OK. Okay. Now once you're done with that,
सर
yes,
सर मैं जैसे ही पुटी जेन डॉट ई एक्स को रन कर रहा हूँ तो उसमें मुझे अपनी फाइल नहीं दिख रही एंड उसमें फॉर्मेट आ रहा है पुटी प्राइवेट की मतलब डॉट पीपी के एक्सटेंशन वाली फाइल सपोर्ट कर रहा है
you have to click that extension and select all files. Then your files will be visible. Have you got it?
नो सर
You have to click on that PPK extension on the right hand side. There will be an option all files there. Below that, select all files. Then all the files will be visible to you.
Okay, sir. Yes, I did.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now here. So then what we are going to do, we are going to save the private key now. So you can save private key. It is asking, are you sure you want to save this key without a passphrase to protect it? So if you want, you can set up a passphrase also. Passphrase will be like a password for your key file so that only you will be able to access it. In case if somebody has stolen your key without password, he won't be able to access your server. So let us just quickly provide a password. Okay. So in order to provide a password, let's say I'm going to type a simple password ABCDE12345. Okay, just for reference. ABCDE12345. So I've taken this password and now I'm going to save private key. Now it is asking me for a location where I want to save it. So on my desktop, I will be saving my PPK file and let's call it as Arush underscore Batra PPK file. Okay. So now the PPK file has been stored and on the desktop, you will be able to view the file Arush underscore Batra dot PPK file. Is that clear? Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Now, once you have got this PPK file, we need to connect to AWS server using this PPK file. So for that, you need a software known as putty.exe. So open your putty.exe, then your application, and now you have to do the following. First of all, here you need to define the host name, okay, where you want to connect, and the port number. So port number will be the default port, port number 22, because our SSH service on AWS is listening on port number 22 only. We just need to know the host name, username and host name. So let me get the username and host name for you. So if we go to the account of AWS, the account which AWS has provided to us, let's just quickly go there. So under the instances, as you all can see, we have created Arush Batra. So we are going to get the IP address from here. Let's say IP address is 13.126.27.226. Save this IP address with you. I'm also sharing that in the card. Host name. The host name will be ec2-user at the rate command B. This is the host name using which you're going to connect to the AWS server. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
ec2-user at 13.126.27.226. So let's quickly define the host name. So as you all can see, we will be connecting with SSH protocol. Now we need to configure SSH settings, which means we need to connect the PPK file using which we are going to connect to AWS. For that, we'll go to SSH service. Under the SSH service, we have authentication. So you have to select authentication. And here, under this PPK file, you have to browse the file and connect. So as you all can see, under your SSH, you have this field authentication. And this authentication has this window where you have to select the private key file for authentication. So we can quickly click on browse. We can go to desktop select the PPK file and click on open. So now you can see we have defined the host name and we have defined our authentication key. So once we are done with both of this, we are quickly going to click on open the connection. Okay. Moreover, in order to make your screen look better, you can also go for appearance and select the font size here, change the font size here. So in the window, you can change the font size to, let's say, 20 so that it looks a little big. Otherwise 10 size will be pretty small on the console. So एक और option आप यहाँ पे set कर सकते हैं. You can go to appearance and change the font size to 20 so that the console screen is visible to you appropriately. Now simply click on open. Once you click on open, you're going to get a message. The server's host key is not cached in the registry. You have no guarantee that the server is the computer you think it is. The server fingerprint is this. Do you trust this host? We have to say yes, we trust this host. So once we trust this, now you can see it is asking for a passphrase. So this is the passphrase which we have defined. Okay. So here the text won't be visible when you will type the password. So just type it clearly. I will type it A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have provided the password, but it won't be visible here on the console for hidden security reasons. Now, once we're done with that, let's press enter. Now, once we enter, you can see that we have got access to Kali Linux server on AWS. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So now this means we have got a Linux server on internet. Okay. So what we can do now, we can configure our applications, our server, and what next we can do? We can create our custom websites and deploy as many websites as we want on the server, and people in the world will be able to access these websites and applications. Now, the first thing we have to do is we have to start Apache server. Okay. So now on this AWS server, you have got a virtual server. Within that virtual server, you have got operating system. Now under this operating system, you are going to run a server application. So if I quickly define what you are going to do, you're going to do something. Let's just quickly type a command and then I'm going to explain command by command. So sudo, you just have to type sudo service apache 2 start. Okay. What is the meaning of this? Let me tell you. So first of all, sudo actually stands for run as administrator, similar to Windows. Okay, sudo stands for run as administrator. Service command to stop a service, to start and stop any service. Okay. Apache 2 service name for Apache web server application. Okay. So when it comes to server, there are two things. One is the hardware server, second is the software server. So hardware server is our EC2 instance and software server is Apache 2. Okay. And then you're going to have start the server. Okay. Is that clear? So you're going to write this Linux command and you're going to start the server. So what we'll do, let's quickly press enter. Once we press enter, we are going to get the command executed and we got the server running. Is that clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Now what you can do, once you're clear with this step, you can go back to the server. Earlier I have shown you that the server was not open when we have opened this IP address 13.226.27.226. But now if you press enter or refresh the page. Now this time you're going to get Apache to Debian default page. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
This means there is a web page available on the server. Okay. Now, now what we want? Now we want to replace this page and we want to design our own applications. Okay.
Yes, sir.
How we are going to do that? Let's have a look. So we'll go here. Now the default directory from where this index page is coming, we are going to change to that directory, and it is known as VAR World Wide Web HTML. Okay. So what is this directory? This is the default web server directory. Okay. So if you read both of these points, what is this? This is the default web server directory. So what do you mean by default web server directory? All web pages will be available here. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now what next we are going to do? So we are under this. Now we are going to execute another command. Let's say I'm going to execute ls command. Okay. What ls will do, ls is going to list the files for you. Okay. List the files and directories within that directory. Okay. So ls command stands for list all the files and folders in current directory. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So we got ls, we listed all the files. So now here what you can do is, you can actually see there is a file known as index.html. Can you see this file?
Yes, sir.
This is the default page which opens when anybody is going to access your server or IP address. So when anybody is going to type your IP address, the IP address of your server, he will see this index.html file. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now what we are going to do? We are going to change this page and we are going to define our own web page. Okay?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, you tell me one thing. Which any website which you like? Name of any website?
YouTube.com.
You like youtube.com? Okay, let's see. So let me just give you a quick template from YouTube itself. Okay, what we can do is we can quickly open youtube.com. Okay, let's say we have got youtube.com here. Now what am I going to do? From YouTube, I just want to download this page. Okay, so I'll right click and I'm going to call it as save as. Okay, I'm just saving this HTML page into a directory here. I'm going to make this as my project. Let's say Arush first project. Okay, so I've named the directory here Arush first project, and under this directory, I'm going to save this file youtube.html with the name index.html. Is that clear? I'm going to save it with the name index.html. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So now you can see I've got index.html and I've got some files from there. Some images, some JavaScript files, some CSS files for YouTube. Is that clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Now what I want this YouTube to be hosted on our web service directory. Okay. So how we can do that? Let's say I'm going to quickly copy both of the file and let me just zip the files. So I'm going to archive it. I'm going to zip the file. I'm going to click on OK. Okay. This is Arush first project.zip. I'm going to upload this zip file here on your Trello account. I'm just uploading it here. Okay. So here I'm just uploading the YouTube files so that you can also use the same. Okay. So what I'll do, I've taken from here, from the desktop, I've got Arush first project.zip. So I've selected the files which I want to host on my server. Okay. So here is your zip file, Arush first project.zip. Just you need to copy the link to Arush first project.zip. Okay. Is that clear? Copy the link.
Yes, sir.
Once you copy the link, you have to go to your server. Okay. So here what you're going to do, let's say if you are also working on the same directory, what you can do, I can make a directory for you and you perform the extraction process in your directory. Okay. So give me a moment. I'm making a directory for you, Arush. So Arush, if you're currently okay, so I have made a directory known as Arush here. So if you are on World Wide Web HTML directory at the moment, what you do is simply change your directory to ARUSH, Arush. Okay, you change your directory to Arush.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and within this Arush directory, you have to execute the command which I am executing in HTML directory. Okay, so you have to execute wget and you have to paste the link. I'm going to copy this link and right click. So type wget and right click. So your Arush first project.zip will be downloaded on AWS and press enter. So once you are done, and also in case if you get permission denied issues, simply type sudo before wget. So whenever you get permission denied on AWS or on Linux, use sudo. Sudo will help you run as administrator. Okay. Now you can see the file has been downloaded. So I have got the file saved.
Yes, sir.
You've also got the file.
Yes, sir.
Now let's see. Now what we are going to do, let's just clear this and let's just list it. So now once you list, you're going to have Arush project.zip file within your Arush directory. Okay. So I will also check. Yeah, you have got that. Okay. Now let's see. Now what we are going to do. First of all, I would like to remove, I will be removing, since you don't have that index file in your directory, but I'm going to remove the old index files, okay, which were available in the HTML directory. I am going to remove both of the index.html files. So once these files are removed, sudo rm-rf index.star means all the files which has index dot in it, just remove the files. So I'm going to remove both the files, and now I'm left with my Arush first project.zip. Similarly, in your Arush directory, you have the zip file also. So what do we have to do now? Let us quickly unzip Arush first project.zip. So what this unzip will do, it is going to extract the files. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So once we, okay, we do need to use sudo again here. Use sudo unzip Arush first project.zip. So now you can see all the files has been downloaded now.
Done, sir.
Done. Now, if we do make a list here, we have got the index.html replaced now. You can see we have got a new index.html. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, now what we'll do? Let's quickly go to your Apache Debian page 13.126.27.226 and let's refresh the page. Now, once we refresh the page, you can see we have got YouTube upload available here. Some images of the YouTube are here. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
And in case if you have to check yours, you can quickly go to Arush directory here. And once you open Arush directory, again, you will be having YouTube here.
Yes, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
So that's how what we do is web applications are created and they are deployed on a web server. And now what you can do is you can access this website from anywhere in the world. Okay, from your mobile phone, from anywhere in the world. Anybody can access your application. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So अब यहाँ तो हमने क्या किया, YouTube का पेज सेव किया है. So we just got one page from YouTube. This is not the complete YouTube website. Okay. अब यहाँ से हम जाएंगे तो कुछ चलेगा नहीं. बात समझ रहे हो? So what we need to do now, we have to make the applications. We have to learn how to make these applications so that we can create our own applications and people can access our applications and get the solutions for their requests. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, so what do we need now in order to create applications like YouTube and some high performing applications? So we can make use of Django framework using Python programming to design these web applications. Okay. Is that
Yes,
clear?
sir.
So for this, what you need to do, you need to set up Django on AWS. So how to set up Django on AWS? Let's have a look. Okay. Now, in order to set up the Django, what am I going to do? First step is to update. Okay, before I go here, let me just quickly share the resource with you. So in order to get started with Django, one of the best way to get started is djangoproject.com. Okay. So the official website is Django Project, djangoproject.com, the web framework for perfectionists with deadlines. So what is Django? It makes it easier to build better web apps more quickly and with less code. Is that clear? You can create nice web applications fast and with high quality code. So in order to get started with Django, you can quickly click here, get started with Django. Now, in case you want to understand what Django is, so let me just quickly give you an overview of Django. So why do we need Django? There are various ways of designing web applications. So one of the best features of Django is with Django, you can take web applications from concept to launch in a matter of hours, which means if you have to build an application like YouTube or any application, any high quality web application, in a very less duration of time, you can make use of Django framework, design that web application, and launch it for production so that users can access it. Django also takes care of much of the hassle of the web development. So you can only focus on writing your application, writing the code of your application without maintaining security and various other important aspects of web. You can ignore that. You can focus on designing your solution, and all other requirements like maintenance of your application and security of your application, all these will be maintained by Django itself. Django is very fast when it is compared with other programming frameworks, other web development frameworks. Django is fully loaded, which means you just, once you create your website, you don't need to take care for user authentications, content administrations, designing of sitemaps for Google search engines so that Google search engines will be able to read the web pages and make your web applications rank well, RSS feeds, and many more tasks. All these things are by default loaded into Django, followed by reassuringly secure. That means there are various web application security issues like SQL injections, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, and clickjacking. These are some of the common web application attacks. But what Django does is Django has already taken care of security of these attacks. Okay, so once a user creates a Django application, he can make use of user authentication systems provided by Django, and they can implement a secure way to manage user accounts and passwords, and can protect the web application from SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, and clickjacking. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Moreover, it is exceedingly scalable, which means suppose you have started a product, okay, and you have deployed that product on AWS. Initially, you have got some 100 or 200 users on your website, but as soon as people started liking your product, in a very short duration of time, your application becomes favorite of users, and there are millions and billions of users accessing your web application. In order to do that, what do you need to do? You need to scale your application, which means your application should be capable of handling billions of users or millions of users. So Django offers scalability options as well. Okay. So in case if you are getting a lot of heavy traffics, Django is going to scale the application components so that a lot of people can access it at the same time. Okay. Along with it is incredibly versatile, which means companies, organizations, governments, they all use Django, and various applications like content management systems, social networks, scientific computing platforms, everywhere Django is used. Okay. So you use Facebook, they make use of Python. You use Google, they make use of Python and Django frameworks. Okay. So there are a lot of frameworks which they use, but just if you have to say the first framework which you have to get started with, Django is one of the best option available. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, so now let's get started with how to set up Django. Now, in order to set up Django, you have to go to the next section, installation of Django. Okay. So we'll quickly click on Django installation guide, and we will be installing Django in order to make it ready for the production so that we can make web applications which are ready for production. Production means the final applications which users are going to use in the world. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, so how to install Python, as well as how to set up the databases, how to install Django, this is what we need to perform today. Okay. So first of all, let's quickly open our shell and check if we do have Python available. So on Linux machines, Python is by default available. So you can quickly see that we have a Python 2.7.7 version. So if you perform any query like 2 plus 2, you're going to get 4. Okay. If you type print hello Arush, okay. Oh, sorry, that's print. So you all already know Python programming and you know how to make use of Python commands and everything. Now, so Python is already available with us. Now we have to get started with installation of Django. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, so let's quickly go here. Install an official release. So installing an official release is somewhat like this. You can quickly install Django using this option, Python pip install Django. Okay, this is the development version. But what we can do is, before that, in case if you want to make it for production, there are two things which you need to take care of. First, you need to take care of installation of Python. We already has Python installed. Second, you have to configure your Apache server, which you recently accessed, and you have to enable that with mod WSGI modules or extensions. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
How does this help? So it will help you make your applications ready for production. Okay, ready for production means if you want to make a website which you want to make it public and you want users to use, then you need to have these modules available. So we are going to install these modules as soon as we start this development process. Along with that, mod WSGI operates in two modes, the embedded mode and the daemon mode. In the embedded mode, mod WSGI is similar to mod Perl. This is also an extension. What it does, it embeds Python with Apache, loads Python code into memory when the server starts. Code stays in the memory throughout the life of an Apache process, and this leads to significant performance gains over other server arrangements. So in case if you have performance consideration, you can make use of embedded mode. Otherwise, in case if you want to make use of performance as well as security also, then we run WSGI in the daemon mode. So in the daemon mode, what can happen? A process can be run as a different user, as a different web server, and this leads to improved security. Okay, so we are going to configure Apache with mod WSGI now. Is that clear till here?
Yes, sir.
So let's go to how to use Django with mod WSGI. Okay, here there is basic configurations which we need to do. So we need to configure WSGI script alias. We need to configure Python home, Python path, the directories. Some of these configurations we need to do. So I'm going to perform this step by step so that you can understand how we install Apache with mod WSGI. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, so what I will do, let me connect to my server. I will be connecting to another server. And what you do is you can continue with execution of the commands in the current server.
सर
Yes.
सर आपने पाइथन वाला कैसे हटाया? मेरा अभी भी पाइथन ही आ रहा है उसके अंदर.
Control Z.
सॉरी.
Control Z.
ओके. ओके सर, हट गया.
Okay.
यस सर.
So here I have another instance. So I will be configuring that instance. Okay. So let's say I have got an instance here, 13.233.250. You can use the current instance which is available to you. Okay.
ओके
So
सर.
for those people, those who use Mac, you will get to know how we connect using Mac here. Okay. And one thing I need to do is I need to get the key file for this. So the key file would be available here. Okay, now, so I'll show you how we are going to connect to that server. So on Mac machines, what you can do is you don't need putty gen and putty.exe. You can quickly open terminal, and within terminal, you can directly execute the command sudo ssh-interact with the key file. So under the downloads, let's say you can download, you can use yashwani.pem file. You don't need to convert it into ppk, you can directly access it. So we are going to define ec2-user at this IP address 13.233.250.174. So once I connect that, I'm going to define my password. I'll say yes, configure, and I have got into EC2 user at Kali. So in Mac and Linux, the procedure is same. You can directly use SSH to connect to your server. Now what next we are going to do? Our objective is to set up Django with Apache WSGI features. Okay. So for this, first step is to update the server. So you're going to execute the command sudo apt get update. What it is going to do, it is going to update your server with the latest libraries so that we can install latest Python libraries and expat libraries, and then we will be able to install Apache or configure Apache utilities and certificates, and we will be able to install mod WSGI. So let's quickly execute
सर
sudo apt. Yeah,
मुझे भी करना ही है विंडोज में.
you have to do it. Not on Windows, on EC2 machine.
ओके सर.
ठीक है, अब आपके पास आपका सर्वर है, मैं अपना सर्वर यूज कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है,
यस सर.
तो अब आप अपने सर्वर को अपडेट कीजिए. मेरा भी एकदम ब्लैंक सिस्टम है, आपका भी एकदम ब्लैंक सिस्टम है. हम दोनों रियल टाइम पे सर्वर्स कॉन्फ़िगर कर रहे हैं. तो आई एम कॉन्फ़िगरिंग अ सर्वर विद अनदर आईपी एड्रेस, यू आर कॉन्फ़िगरिंग अनदर सर्वर.
ओके सर.
So update the server first. So once the server gets updated, we are going to proceed to the next one, installation of libraries.
डन सर.
Yours is updated? Yeah, my is also updated. Now, once the server is updated, the next thing is, it may be possible sometimes on the server Python may not be installed. You may be using some other server, okay? You may not be using Kali. So just to give you that information that how to install, how to get started from the scratch, you can use install Python command also and live expat one, okay? So these are the two. One is Python and live expat. We generally use this command to install. Okay. So in case if it is already installed, nothing will happen. It will say Python is already installed on the machine, and like that, we are going to get a message. So let's execute this command. Okay. Okay. Now you can see live expat was already installed. Python was already the newest version. So we already got the libraries installed. But just for the sake of completion, we have included this command also, that we need to use Python and live expat one. Is that clear?
यस सर.
Now, once we have got this, let's go to step number 3. Now in this, sometimes it may happen that the Apache server is not available. So again, we install, the second step is Apache server. But as of now, Apache is installed in our Kali Linux server. But again, it may be possible you are working on a machine which is not Kali Linux. So how you have to do it? So we are going to install Apache using Apache 2, but in both of the machines, in your machine as well as in my machine, Apache 2 is already installed. So we are going to get that Apache is already the newest version, and other libraries, in case if they are not installed, they will be installed. So first we need is Apache 2. Second, we need Apache 2 utilities, and third, we need SSL certificate for security purpose. Sudo apt get install Apache 2 utilities and SSL certificate. So once we press enter, you can see that SSL certificate is already the newest version, but there are two files. Additional packages will be installed, Apache 2 binary and Apache 2 data. So I'm going to say capital Y, yes, to continue. You can use Shift Y and press enter. So now Apache server will be updated with the latest version. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now what we are going to do? So once Apache server is installed, we have to enable module WSGI. So for that, enabling module WSGI, we need to install the library, and this library is known as live Apache 2 mod WSGI. So what you can do is you can quickly use sudo apt get install live Apache 2 mod WSGI. Sudo apt get install live Apache 2 mod WSGIs. So I hope you are able to understand that whenever we have to install a package, we already have to use this command along with the package name, the name of the package. And package name you can quickly search on internet also. So if you know the right package name, you can define the package name.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is installation command. This will be same for all the other installation commands. Maybe tomorrow it may be possible you may want to install VLC player or anything like that. So you can install using sudo apt get install and VLC. You can type and it will get installed on Linux machine. Okay, and this is the package name which you want to install. So package name will keep on changing. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let's see. So once you press enter, you can see that you're going to get 3830 KB of mod WSGI installed here. Okay, so are you able to execute the commands?
सर डाउनलोड हो रहा था.
सो अभी अगर आप देखो, जो हमने LG की जॉब प्रोफाइल प्रेफर किया था, तो उसमें सबसे पहले पाइथन मांग रहा था, उसके बाद लिनक्स मांग रहा था. तो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द लिनक्स प्रोसीजर विच पीपल डू. Okay, package installation, management, going into the directory, coming out of directory, deleting the files and all that stuff. Okay,
Yes, sir.
then it was asking for Django, so we are going to develop Django also. So now the profile is the software developer profile at LG. So they will be needing this kind of information, this kind of skills with the with the person who wants to join as a software engineer at LG. Okay, now, so once we got the mod SGI installed, now what we need to do is we need to restart Apache services. So to restart Apache services, what we are going to do, we are going to make use of systemctl. So you are going to execute the command system control. Systemctl means system control, and using system control, we can control any service. So we want to restart a service, and name of the service is Apache 2. So once we restart the service, what will happen? The module WSGI will be enabled. Okay, or not enabled, it will be connected with WSGI. We are going to enable that in the upcoming steps.
सर सर 1 मिनट रुक जाओ, मेरा डाउनलोड नहीं हुआ.
आपका डाउनलोड हो रहा है अभी?
यस सर, हो रहा है अभी 70% के आसपास हो गया.
नो प्रॉब्लम, लेट इट डाउनलोड. Okay, now, so once you are done with restarting Apache 2, what we are going to do now, we are going to configure Apache for WSGI. Okay, so this is our step 3, where we are going to configure Apache services for WSGI module. So for this, what we are going to do, we need to create a test script. Okay, so let's create a Python script now. So in order to create a Python script, we'll quickly go to var World Wide Web HTML, and suppose this is going to be your Python page. Okay, let's call it as webpage.py. Now we are going to create a page in Python. Earlier, what we did, we just simply copied the HTML page from YouTube and we posted it. But now we want to create a page with Python programming language. Is that clear?
Yes sir.
So what we are going to do, we are going to use Nano. Let's use the editor sudo Nano. So Nano is a notepad editor, console-based notepad editor for Linux machines. Is that clear?
Yes
So we are going to run Nano, and we are going to open a file in the directory var World Wide Web HTML, and name of the file is webpage.py. So now once we run that, now we have to define the Python code. Okay. So
yes
what will be the Python code in order to define a web page? Let's quickly define an application. Okay. We're going to define an application. Now what this application will receive, it will receive two variables. First variable will be the environment, and second will be the response. Okay, we are going to call it as start response. Is that clear?
Yes sir.
Now, below that, you're going to define a status. So whenever somebody is going to connect to your server, he's going to receive a response. So suppose if we have got successful connection, we are going to respond him with a message, status 200 OK. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes sir.
You can also write the code in collaboratory also. Okay, that may be easy sometimes for a beginner. Now let's see. Then you are going to design an HTML page. Okay, we are going to design a very simple HTML page here. Let's say this is going to be an HTML tag. Do you know HTML programming?
Yes sir.
Okay, so let's write a simple HTML code. And let's call it as welcome to Python page.
डबल कोट्स में लिखना है क्या HTML प्रोग्राम?
हाँ, यस, डबल कोट्स में यहाँ पे लिख देते हैं. लाइक अ वेरिएबल हमने यहाँ पे क्रिएट कर दिया HTML, और उसके अंदर हमने डबल कोट्स के अंदर HTML डिफाइन कर दिया, सिंपल HTML, जस्ट टू टेस्ट द पेज हियर. ओके, बाकी तो आगे हम बहुत अच्छे हाई क्वालिटी पेजेस बनाएंगे उनको प्रोग्राम के थ्रू कॉल करेंगे, बट अभी जस्ट फॉर टू चेक वेदर मॉड WSGI इज वर्किंग और नॉट, इसलिए हमने एक छोटा सा ऐसा एक सिंगल वन लाइन पेज बना लिया.
Done, sir.
Okay. Now, so once we are done with creating this HTML page, we are going to create a response which we want to return. So we are going to create a response header variable. Let's call response header. This response header is going to be a list of values, and within the list of values, we are going to pass a set. Okay. So the first set which we are going to pass will contain two values: the content type. Okay. This we are actually defining what will be returned on this request. So we are letting the browser know whenever a client is going to send a connection to us, we are going to respond him that the connection, we have got the successful connection. So we will send 200 OK message to him. Then we are going to send him that we are sending you a content of text or HTML type, so that he understands how he has to parse the text or parse the response which is coming. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now what we are going to do? Now we are going to call the function start response. We are going to start response, and within response, what we have to send, we have to define the status. Let's say the 200 status, 200 OK status, and the response header, which we want to respond. We are going to call it as response header. And finally, we are going to return the list of elements with HTML. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So we got a simple Python page ready here. Use Control O. When you press Control O, it will ask you, do you want to save the file? So we can press Control O and we can say yes. Press Enter. Okay. So now what happens? The page gets saved. And you can use Control X to close this window.
Okay, sir.
Now, so what we have got, we have created the web page. Now we need to link this web page with our Apache configurations. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We need to configure the Apache server to serve this file over the HTTP protocol. So in order to do that, what do we need to do? We are going to create a file sudo nano under this directory etc for Apache 2. etc directory is the directory where generally configurations for different applications are maintained. Okay, in Linux, various settings and configurations of the applications are maintained in the etc directory. We call it as etc.
Yes.
Okay. So within etc, we selected Apache 2 application. Within this, we are going to select the configuration. So we are going to make use of available configuration directory. Under conf-available directory, we are going to create a new configuration file. And I'm going to call this configuration file as module WSGI configuration.conf. So I'm saying that I'm configuring Apache with module WSGI configurations.
Yes, sir.
We'll press enter. So what will happen? A nano editor will open. And now we have to define a WSGI script alias. Okay. That means we are going to send a request, and that request will be mapped to our web page file, webpage.py file. Okay. So how we can do that? We can define a WSGI script alias. Okay. You have to define WSGI script alias. Make sure you use the appropriate cases. WSGI is in uppercase, S is in uppercase, script ka CRIPT is in lowercase, alias ka A in uppercase, and followed by all lowercase.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to say that I'm going to access this page Arush Python. Okay? Or I'll say, let's say not Arush, let's say I'm going to get Python page. Okay, let's say. So what user will do, he will come to our IP address and he will get access to /Python page. But whenever he sends a request to /Python page, where the request will be sent? the request will be sent to our Python file, which is stored in the www.html directory. Okay, so let's map it. We are going to define that under the directory var World Wide Web HTML, there is a file. What was the name of the file which created? Webpage.py. Okay, so now what we are doing, we are mapping webpage.py with Python page. Okay, so users will search Python page and they will be redirected to webpage.py. So we do this in order to maintain the security of the application so that users should not know that which is the actual file is which is being called when somebody access that request or when somebody requests that resource. Okay, so we have to hide the main file and we have to give an alias to the users always so that they never get to know about webpage.py.
Okay, sir.
Now, so we have defined our webpage.py. Use Control O, press Enter, Control X, close. Okay. So once you are done with these steps, you have to enable mod WSGI configuration and restart Apache services. To do that, we are going to make use of sudo a2nconf. This is a command using which what you can do, you can configure Apache 2 mod WSGI. Okay. So Apache 2 modules can be configured using a2inf command, and we can define the module as mod WSGI. And once we are done with that, you can see that we are done with the configurations. Language, LSET, mod WSGI has been enabled. Now, since it is enabled, we just need to reload the Apache service. We need to restart the Apache service. So for that, we're going to execute the command sudo systemctl restart Apache 2.
Sir,
Okay. Yeah.
सर mod WSGI एग्जीक्यूट नहीं हो रहा मेरा. एरर आ रहा है कि mod WSGI does not exist.
So it may be possible आपने जो installation command execute किया था ऊपर model WSGI जो हमने
जी,
ऊपर
उसके अंदर एरर आ रहा था, एक आपको बताया था ना मैंने.
अच्छा, no problem, we'll check. So sudo systemctl restart Apache 2. Okay, we are going to run this. तो जैसे हमने रन किया sudo systemctl restart Apache 2, now the server has got restart. And now what we can do, we can go to the server, we can open this page, we can go to the server, and name of my server is this. Oh no, this one. This is my server. Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to define the IP address and I'm going to access Python page now. So once I execute Python page, you can see that I'm getting a message, welcome to Python page. That's the HTML page. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
So now what happened? We got a server. Over the server, we have made an alias Python page. And this Python page in the background is actually redirecting to py file. It is associated with the py file. And that Python file is able to generate a web page back. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now what we have is, this is the security is also implemented because the user cannot see the py file now. Otherwise, what will happen if we get to have the py file directly? Okay. Suppose if somebody gets access to this file, let's say the name of the file was webpage.py. So this is insecure. If somebody knows about webpage.py and if he opens it, it will directly open and you can see the source code. Okay, that's why what we do, we never keep our web application code in the VAR World Wide Web directory. We just keep HTML there, and all other we keep in a secure place, in a secure directory. And we configure the aliases so that nobody will be able to download that py file. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's why we make use of mod WSGI. It improves the security and performance and management of web applications. So further, we are going to understand much about Django. So for now, as of now, the configuration part is done. So let me stop the stream and then I will check your doubts. So all the participants, those who were watching it on YouTube or on any other channel where we have broadcasting. So this is how we configure Apache services with mod WSGI option to set up Django, to set up for Django. So as of now, we have just configured Python for creating the web page and sending it back to the client. But now we need to make use of a web framework which can perform all these things automatically and with ease of security, scalability, usability, and many more. So for that, we'll be coming up in the next session and we will be discussing on Django framework. We'll be designing web applications with Django in much details. So thank you so much for watching, all those who were available.